Good morning, everybody. Good morning. All right. Good morning, everybody. I'm your host, Cryptic Crickets, also known as JoJo. I am an American blue-collar guy that loves to stock trade, crypto trade, yield farm, what else? Lend and borrow, and every now and then I like to stake my crypto coins. Okay. Also, I got my own crypto merchandise. Okay, the link is in the bio, so if you're watching this on YouTube, just go to the link and you'll see it. If not, you can just type in cryptocrickets.biz, B-I-Z, and that'll be the website. For anybody that purchases an item and you actually have the WebAuth wallet, you get airdrop 5,000 peg tokens, right, for every purchase you make on for every item that you purchase on my website merch. Also, starting next week, right, there are for the people that actually make the first 10 purchases, right, you're gonna get an extra item mailed to you by me, right? But this is only if you're American and Canadian, right? So if you buy an item, right, let's say from my website you get a t-shirt, then that means that you know, of course, you're gonna get the shirts, but I'm also going to mail you directly another item, a product that I have created, and I can't tell you what it is because, well, you have to actually participate in that, which is something new that I'm working on. So if you haven't checked it out, make sure you do. If you don't have the WebAuth wallet, make sure that you download it. Make sure that you get KYC verified if you want to use the entire XPR network, which of course the Metallic is ecosystem. Okay, now make sure you like, follow, and subscribe, or make sure you like and follow and comment, right? Because I want to hear your guys' feedbacks, and then of course, I want to give a shout out to all of the Europeans that are traveling here in the US for the World Cup. I hope if this is something new for you guys, first time here being in the US, enjoy our culture, enjoy our food. I know it's very different, and enjoy the the weather. But with that, let's get back to the show. Let's get it going. So, as you can see, what I have here on the screen is the thumbnail, of course, image of what it is for, XPR Network news. Okay. The yield farming is still printing during a pullback. Okay. Well, what that means is basically, doesn't matter if crypto is down, I'm still getting, I'm still making money on yield farming. It's still printing. Right now, we're in a bear market. Crypto is probably going to be down for the next 4 months, give or take. And right now, depending on how you want to do this, doesn't really matter. Buying into crypto right now, utilizing those coins, getting paid during the bear market is essential. Because that's what we're here for. We're here to get paid, right? Nothing in this world is free. Our time costs us a lot, and you can never get it back. So with that, If you don't have, like I said, the WebAuth wallet, make sure you download it and start utilizing the entire platform so that you can start making money during a bear market in crypto. Okay, once the market pumps back, maybe in December or January, I don't give a rat. I don't know what's gonna happen, right? You are in a good position to sell, take profits, reassess, right? Do whatever it is you want to do. So, am I worried about the market being low in crypto? No, we all saw this coming because we also just saw the launch of, SpaceX, right? We already know that Elon Musk is the first trillionaire. We already know that, right? It's on paper. Whether people like it or not, that's just what it is, So therefore, I want to buy into the AI companies. We talked about it last week that OpenAI, Anthropic, of course, with the fact that SpaceX Explorations is one thing, but these are companies that are big hype to the entire market, whether if it's crypto or stock market, doesn't matter. It's just there's a lot of money backing this up, and a lot of people want to get in. That's why you saw a pullback in crypto, because many people wanted to sell their crypto, their profits if they were trading, etc., and buy into SpaceX. Now, the IPO offering, right, when it launched on on all these exchanges for SpaceX, it was 135. However, we saw that in these crypto exchanges like BitUnix, maybe Coinbase had it, what else, Binance, Kraken, right, they were already trading at like 180, 170. So when it launched in the stock market, right, it was essentially around that price, like it was, right? So what you're gonna see is a lot more tokenizations and mixed in with crypto. You're gonna see that. I see it on BitUnix, where they got precious metals, they got silver, gold. They have other things like oil as well that you can trade. So you're gonna see this more and more and more often. The good thing about the crypto is that if you are allowed to trade it, means you probably don't really have to wait for the initial offering, because when it launches, because you were able to buy for whatever price it was, and it did actually, it made some money. It's steady. But I'm probably going to buy, get into SpaceX when it goes, probably after like 12 months, maybe 6 months, because there is a lot of speculation, a lot of sentiment. Elon Musk was talking about he wants to fucking take people to Mars and the fucking moon. I don't even know if our current, exploration team in the US have actually, even visited the moon dozens of times. So I don't know how much of this is gonna really last, right? But I know that a lot of people were not allowed to fully sell their bags, right? Because it's an incentive to hold and to invest, which is fine. I personally, when something like that launches, it's always the early people for companies that always get the upper hand to buy in early, be in profits, while traders like myself, right, retailers, we don't really get too much of that. We actually have to buy when it launches and pay higher. And so I'm not a big fan of that. So I've learned to just sit back, wait till the market pulls back. I mean, it launched yesterday. It's closed for Saturday and Sunday. So we have yet to see if people are gonna dump on Monday and start to see a pullback and find an entry point. Maybe get it in for less and probably get in at 100 or 90 or even 80, right, within the next couple of months. Then I can start buying some stuff. I don't want to pay full price, because if a lot of employees are dumping thousands and thousands of shares, I don't want to be involved in that. Okay, so that's that. Now we are That's one thing. Also, now we're gonna get into the XPR network and the Metallicas. So basically, what we are seeing, okay, is that XPR is, or some saying the MetalX platform, is to have an updates and have perpetuals, and leverage trade, go make money for a long or make money for a short. Great, it attracts more people. But like I said earlier, in the last two videos, right? Yes, that in order for perpetuals or for what else, for lending and borrowing protocol, the one thing that most of us have to focus on is liquidity pools. If we are not putting in money into liquidity pools, right, what happens is there is no money involved, right, that it sometimes not become sustainable. It's like, okay, where the fuck is the money going to come from? If people are not participating in liquidity pools, well, then we have to change the rules of the game, right? For example, they also had an update with the loan protocol. So if you, right, let's say you have $10,000 worth of crypto and you're lending and borrowing, there's a flat fee of $25 to withdraw. So if you withdraw $10,000, $15,000, it's a flat fee of $25 max. The reason of that is because XPR Network, or Metallicus, right, is working with the investors and they want to see revenue. What's going on is where gas fees are free, zero gas fees, that's usually going away because of the fact that people failed to add money into liquidity pools. That's why that proposal went through. There was no money in liquidity pools. There was not a lot of trading coming in, right? And so when there's not a lot of money on fees, right? Nobody's making money on fees because you're not putting money up front. Then that's what happens. It doesn't become sustainable, right? So that proposal was added, it was voted, and with that now, just ensure that when you do put your coins to work on the lending and borrowing side, that you buy at the bottom what these coins are, or dollar cost average on the way down, and have them there. And when it runs, of course, it's a $25 fee once you withdraw them, but it's instant and you can sell it, whatever, doesn't matter. But the platform has to see revenue and it has to be sustainable. So those are the updates that are going on with the XPR. Also, there's a possibility, right, that there was another proposal where if somebody had put a proposal to where they actually want to add XDC to the lending and borrowing, right, protocol, but unfortunately the quorum is too low, so it's probably not gonna pass. And I think there's like a couple of days left. And sorry, hold on, I'm sorry. Whatever. Okay, so with that being said, right, I don't think XDC is gonna land on the loan protocol because the quorum doesn't meet the quorum. It is what it is. Now, what we're going to do is now we're gonna look at charts. But before we get into looking at charts, make sure you download the WebAuth wallet, get KYC verified, so that you can use the entire platform. And also make sure you check out my website, right, cryptocrickets.biz, or the link is in the bio, right? And for every purchase you make, you get airdrop 5,000 peg tokens if you have the WebAuth wallet. Okay, also, like I said, the first 10 people that make buys, right, you're also going to get another item mailed to you directly from me, because again, it's something that I want to do. I want to build this platform, and I'm doing quite well. I can see that I had more follows, and that's amazing. I want to give out thanks to everybody that gave me follows. I see it's growing, and we want to keep doing that. Okay, but I also want people to watch the video so that they can keep up with the market, and that's what we're going to do right now. Okay. I also have a whiteboard basically that I wrote on here, and you know, at stocks and perhaps crypto that are potentially might still make a little bit of a run, right? And you can make some money. A lot of times, you know, when I am live with my friends on a different platform, we talk about a lot of things and we don't write them down. We kind of just passes, and then we come back 6 months later, we see these fucking projects just take off, and it's like, and we messed up because we didn't invest into it. So I write them down. Okay. Now, with that being said, let's look at the charts. Let's look at the charts here, folks. Okay, so we have the charts, and this is space exploration. This is on the 1 hour. Okay, it was there for a few hours, and as you can see, the opening was at 135 and it ran all the way up to about 176. However, when you look at SpaceX on Binance, you'll see that it had way more trades. It was available. And look, this is space exploration. It was already at, you know, $224 on, what is it, May 20th. It was already at you know, $224. So I think people already sold. They were buying, they were trading it, right? They found a new low, they wrote it back up, they sold it again, right? And so people were scalping it. And as you can see, this is SpaceX. I don't expect to see SpaceX to probably, you know, go that route where it's going to go higher anytime soon, because people already took profits. And this is from Binance. This is also from other platforms. With that, also is that's why I'm saying that I don't want to invest in SpaceX because of this charting. This is Binance chart, right? When we go down to the, I don't know, the daily, yeah, that'll work more. There it is. Look at that. It's been dumping. So he was already a trillionaire on paper, right? Behind closed doors, but there was no money. And so, like, you know what I mean? Like, we didn't know anything about it. So there's like, there it is right there. And people have been dumping, right? A lot of their friends, a lot of the employees already became thousandaires or millionaires, whatever. They've already dumped. And you can see that. And so chances are, if it does run, right, SpaceX has to go up to 183, get past that resistance area, and then maybe, you know, flirt around, you know, 190 in that area right there, and then swing higher. Can it do it? I don't know, because people are not willing to buy for something that's expensive, and already people are starting to dump. And so that's one of the things you guys got to be worried about. Okay, that's with SpaceX. We're going to wait and see how the market is on Monday, and hopefully, you know, it holds. If it doesn't, great. I have a bigger opportunity to invest in it. All right, so now that we have that set and done, let's look at the Nasdaq. Okay, the Nasdaq, it made a little bit of a retracement here on the daily, right? But we want to see this pull back a little lower down to around this area of 27,026. But again, it may not actually come back down that far. I have to look at it in the larger time frame, but as you can see, the volume here is kind of slowing down. So that's probably due for a reversal if there's no volume. Look at all this volume here. Volume right there. You see it going up. But here, now the volume is getting smaller. And that's a potential sign that it might reverse to come back down. All right. And so with that being said, let's see how the weekly looks like. The weekly still looks pretty strong because there's some strong volume right there, right? But even then, that, like I said, this might be a sign for a reversal to where it has to correct itself and kind of pull back and and close all these areas right here, you know, down all the way to like 26,531, right? It might even come back down and tap this whole area where it's like, what can you see? 24,000, no, 25,453, right? And then start to go back up higher. That's what I'm expecting to see from the NASDAQ. All right, and with that being said, what else do we have here? Now, there are actually a couple of companies out there that are probably in for still to make a big run. NBIS, right, is a price at 233. Right, and I am expecting it to see it kind of pull back a little bit before it goes higher. Right, and this is the weekly. There's already some selling pressure on the weekly chart, of course. If I go for the monthly, I can do that too, but let's see how that looks like anyways. I want to see how strong that is, if it's going to keep going up. Okay, so the selling isn't that bad on the weekly, right? But there is still a lot of buying, and it is kind of like it is a little bit overextended on the RSIs. Okay, so we might see a pullback, and if I see a pullback all the way down to like 167 ish to 140, that'd be a great entry point and swing higher. Okay, that's for the monthly, guys. What does the Nubius group do? I don't know. There's a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of crypto. There's a lot of stocks. I mean, there's just tons and tons of companies out there that are just there to make money. I probably looked at it, forgot what it was, and so much of that shit's going on. So now we have CRWV. Which is Core Weave. Okay, Core Weave is another one. I like Core Weave because of the entry. It doesn't have a long history, right, with Core Weave, but I do see that maybe it might pull back down to about like $64, give or take, and that'll probably be like a good entry point. It looks like it's a Canadian company, right? But at the end of the day, it is probably something that I'll get into, right? That's actually gonna make some money. How high is it gonna go? I don't know. I would actually have to chart this. I normally like to do from top to the bottom, but I don't like to it's right. There it is. Yeah, there's not a lot of history on this, but as you can see, if it, it actually rejected the 163, that's where it tapped, it maxed out, but it went and it tapped higher. So what you're probably going to see, the next area of zone, right, that needs to go up to is about 170, 164 to about 245 area-ish, and then, be in this whole zone area, this new area, the new higher highs, right? And that's one thing that, how high can it go? It can probably go all the way up to like 375, give or take, between now and maybe to the end of the year, and then start to pull back, right? Do a retracement, right? Really kind of pull back, or it may never come down, because I've seen some of these companies that actually, for fuck's sakes, I mean, they were like at $20 and they went up to like $1,900. They went up like crazy. They went up like crypto, man. It's wild. All right, so that's the monthly. By the way, I have my coffee. I know it's early in the morning. If you're watching from wherever you are and it's early in the morning, make sure you have your coffee. Make sure, I hope you're enjoying the live stream, right? Because You know, I know people do things in the morning and sometimes they don't want to listen to music or anything. They just want to listen to something informative. And hope you enjoyed that. Okay, now that's that. Now that's for the monthly. Let's go back to the weekly because I want to see how it looks on a shorter time frame. I'm sorry, it's just my phone sometimes gets a lot of text messages and it's like I have it open. And okay. With that being said, this is the weekly, 2 weeks. Okay, that area here, as you can see, it might come down and hit that tap, that what is it, that 86, and then probably try to swing higher. Okay, if I do a parallel channel, that might give me something better, an idea. Okay, if it breaks out of this area, this downtrend area, right on the 2 weeks, right, for a correction, then we're probably going to go higher, right? If not, it might retest this area here of like, what is it, 69.70, which would probably be a good entry point, and then probably start to, you know, swing higher. So I do like this because the price isn't so high. It's like at $100, right? And if I can make, you know, 2 or 3x before the end of the year, that'll be a winner for all of us, including me. Right? If it makes more, amazing. Right? And so that's that for CR core weave. Yes. Don't know what it does, but I know my friend actually told me about it. Right? He normally trades. He's a savage in trading. Guy has made tons and tons of money, and this is what he does for a living. So he's probably the reason why I came back to stocks, because of the fact that, you know, didn't have much of around to like people to kind of show me things, and I ran into him, and you know, I consider him as a friend because he's very knowledgeable, and you know, other friends too that are involved in that area, they taught me a lot of things. And so hey, whenever I see money, money is good. If I see money in crypto, I will go get money in crypto. If I see money in stocks, I will go get money in stocks. If I see money, you know, to be made at work because I'm a blue collar, I'm gonna go get that money as well too, right? If I see money laying on the ground, on the floor, right, when I'm walking, I'm gonna pick that up too. I'll pick up those pennies, right? Never take anything for granted. Never. Now back to this. That's core weave. The next one we're gonna look at is MU. Oh, Micron. Oops. Micron Technology. Normally I start with crypto and then do stocks, but we'll do stocks because right now crypto is down. There's really not a lot for me to be talking about it, but we're gonna definitely get into it. But right now the money's in stocks. As you can see, Micron on the 2 weekly chart, it looks like it went up pretty high, and it's probably gonna start doing a correction here. And if it does correct, which is fine, getting into Micron is also another good thing. For those who are actually willing to trade and you say, man, it's very expensive, I can't get that many shares, learn how to trade it and build. Okay? And like I said before, always protect your capital. Never leave it in the market, because if you leave it in the market and you have to pay your taxes, right? Taxman does not care if it's in the market. They need you to pay. Okay, so protect your capital all the time. Okay, so with that, let's see what it does here. This on the 2 weekly. You can also see here on Micron 2, the volume is kind of slowing down a bit. We might start to see more sell. We just have to wait and see on the monthly chart and the, you know, the 2 weekly. Yeah, you can see that they had a huge, strong volume, but now you see it kind of slow down a bit. Right, but when it comes for the monthly, it does look like it needs to come back and get this corrected as well. So right now, I would not be buying into Micron. I probably short it because if I could, you know, leverage trading, because it's so high that your chances of like making money of this is probably going back down, correcting itself. Now, I'm not saying this is not a financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I do this for educational purposes and entertainment. So be cautious when you go into this market. With that being said, okay, it looks like it needs to come back down. And if I can just write a, you know, or put a damn chart on here, I won't do the top one because it actually pulls back, so it doesn't really matter. Like I said, I normally like doing just the full candles. I don't like doing the wicks because the wicks, they just mean that it went above what it, you know, where it was, where it found a new resistance, and then after that it just rejected. So there's no point of me doing that. But I do like the candles because that would be your resistance and support area, solid areas. Okay, so this is where it needs to probably come back. Okay, let's see how it looks like on the shorter time frame. So definitely, if it come back down all the way to like 472 on Micron, I would actually start buying there. I'd probably buy like, shit, I don't know, I'll buy like, but if I can buy like a couple of these things, I'd be happy, right? Hold on to him for a minute, right? If it goes a little lower, I'll buy lower, but I doubt it. It might actually hit that 410. You know, wick that out. If you can get it, perfect. Be my guess. Get in there. Okay, and how high can it go? The next area, look at that. It can go to 1600. Right, so if you actually have a few and you can get it between 500-ish area, right, then I'm all in because I want to get that money. I want to be in a better position. Make sure I buy at the bottom, not at the top, right? Like they say, if you're in trading, we buy red candles and we sell on green candles. Now, you see this red candle, that doesn't mean I buy at the fucking top. That means I'm just saying we buy red candles at the bottom. So don't get it confused. Okay, and if I can see this area where it gets a break above that one, that what is it? If it closes at, you know, if it can stay above 981 where it closed, right? No, I'm sorry. If it stays above $1,000, 1,009, then actually that's going to be the new area of support, the new zone. And so of course the resistance would be, you know, obviously like 1,600 bucks, right? It may actually just shoot through, right? Because there's a huge percentage on that. But again, by looking at this here on the chart, on the monthly, that looks like the volume is starting to reverse. But then the RSIs, look at these RSIs. These things are way overextended. They have to come back down and correct themselves a bit. So, you know, I think the biggest key here is being patient. Patience is going to pay off more, right? And being impatient, it's going to kill you, and you're going to end up losing more than what you probably end up making before the end of the year. Nothing like good old coffee. Okay, so that's Micron. The next one we're gonna do is SanDisk. I heard about that SanDisk yesterday. Oops. And SanDisk Corporation. Fuck. Yeah, that's that one that really took off, and we talked. And then I think they were talking about this, my friends, you know, my live streams. I can't remember. Sometime last year to get in on SanDisk, and look. Last year of August, it was around $30, right? And now that thing ran all the way to like 1,900 bucks. That is wild. That I have to see that in stocks immediately. That's like, you know, I don't know how many X's that is, but if you got in like at $47 and some change, right? That is literally 1980 divided by 47. That's 42. Right? So that's probably, yeah, that is literally 1x. What is it? 2, 3. That's what? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That's like almost like a 20x, man. That is wild. 15x, right? And you don't see that, but usually something like this, and I'm looking at the monthly here. The monthly shows that the volume is dying, so that might be a time for a reversal. And if you do trade on the regular, I think shorting it would be normally the correct, right? Again, my opinion, I think shorting it would be the next play here, right? You can see the volume dying here as well on the 2-weekly chart. You can see the volume dying until we see the reports earning on this, right? They were up on surprise. They were up 60%. Revenue up 26%. So we gotta wait to see how that plays out. All right. But again, I treat this just like, you know, like other companies. Like if they're still, you know, earnings still showing that there's still improvement, chances are it may not come back down. But listening from my friend was telling me that this actually might go up to like $5,000 a share. So there is money to be made, a lot of fucking money to be made, and I want a piece of that. I want a piece of that. Right, the demand for this is probably, I mean, they're asking, the demand is to come back down to what, $600 before it swings higher. And so when I look at the volume shelf, I want to see if what the let's see how the average looks like. There it is. Okay, so yeah, the demand is at $600. Yeah, I was right, about $600. That's where the demand is. And so people want to see this come back down, right, and clear out all this liquidity area before it swings higher, right, before it gets to those 2,800 areas, and then you know find a new resistance and support above this $2,000. That'll be the next area of play. And then if it can go up to about $4,200, if it can go all the way up to like 43, 44 before the end of the year, that'd be nice. If not, if it's sometime next year, that's fine too. Like I said, I'll take profit. I don't care. I will take profit, you know, come here, sell that, come back down, sell it right, you know, buy in here again, and you know, do that again, because that's what I want to do. I want to make money. So that'll be definitely nice for SNDK. Yeah, I gotta fix that price because I wrote $198. Now it's on $1,900. Okay, that's that. Then we got what else do we have here? Nvidia, same thing. The demand is asked to become a little lower. It might come lower to that 195 area zone where I could definitely buy in. If that doesn't hold, it's probably going to come back and tap in that area around 182. 182 would be a good entry point as well, but I don't know if it'll go low. So I would normally start to buy around that zone of 195. If it goes lower, right, then you know, you buy more, but make sure you spread out your purchases and just don't just dump in everything at this price because you think it's just not going to go any lower. It can't, you know, nobody knows where it's going to go. But the EMAs shows that it's reversing. It's still in a downtrend, okay? And if it can stay, you know, these longer time frames here above that, then, you know, somewhere I would say around 183 would be a good entry point in my opinion. And that's for Nvidia. Yeah, the supply is there. They dumped that there already, so that's that. Right, and then what I see is this like a weird head and shoulders type, so therefore it's probably going to come back down. I mean, that thing looks odd at an angle, right? Or as they say, it's a wonky head and shoulder. It's a wonky. Okay, now back to that, as that's actually for Nvidia on the daily. The monthly, there is the monthly. Okay, so this is the monthly on Nvidia. Okay, Nvidia is still came back down, came back down. The RSI is so still like they're still overextended, right? And the yellow MA, right, is showing that it's underneath, so therefore it's on top, so therefore it may still actually just come down lower. And it, you know, definitely a good entry point for Nvidia if it does decide to retrace back down somewhere around this area of 121. Based on the monthly chart, it might actually come lower. But again, we have to watch this daily. I don't know what it's going to do. It ran already, so it's got to come back down. What other ones? Oh, that's right. AMD. AMD definitely needs to come back down because I want to get into it. I mean, my friend was telling me to get in since last year. Fuck, I don't know. Last year. Like $92 or something like that. Now it's like at 500. So that's like a 4 or 5x right there that I missed. Okay, the volume, as you can see, is getting smaller. All right, we got to wait for the report earnings. What is it? AMD and Nvidia, right? Prices are so high, a lot of people are not really buying into it. So this we might see a reversal on this. Even with the chips of AI that they have invented, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to keep going higher, at least not yet. But what I do know is that you know, Nvidia is working with big data centers, big corporations, big investors. So it may not come down. We don't know. But if you do decide to buy at this area, just understand that if it comes lower, right? If you got $5,000 and you want to put everything at $5 grand on 500, not a smart move. But if it starts to, if you put, $500 here, $500 here, $500 here, $500 here, right? Then you're bringing your dollar cost average low. And that's just something that you want to do. But I would wait, and like I said, never leave your money in the market, so you always want to protect your capital. That's just my opinion. Okay. Then we have another one. Oh, that's right. What I meant to say is that in stocks, the two biggest things, in my opinion, that are important for a lot of people to also invest, right? And not just trade it, but just invest, because you're buying into it. One thing is buying, and another thing is trading. When you buy, it's long term, right? So another one that I want to see, right, I want to get into is the American Water Works companies. Why? Because the amount of data centers that have to be built, and you got to keep these things cool, require not just water, but a liquid form, right, that will keep these electronic devices cooled and provide power and services to the consumer. And so water, to me, is essentially something that nobody talks about. It's a big dynamic that water is going to be expensive. Don't care what you think or what you say, it's what it is. For example, in 2021-ish, 22, water ran all the way up to about $189. Ever since then, it's been on a pullback. If it can tap these areas again of, the demand is here lower, it's asking lower, right? If it can hit that area of $100 in this area, I'll be buying for water, because these are companies. This is a company that actually provides, water solutions for computers. It's a reality. Owning a computer now is a luxury. It is what it is. They're not cheap. Okay, phones have gone up in prices. Last year, my friends were buying some phones for $1,000 for an iPhone. Right now, you probably see those phones for $1,500. Right, because of those semiconductors and those chips. So it's only going to get higher. That's it. That's just what it is. So definitely the American Waterworks Company is something for people to look into invest. All right. We already talked about that. And I think Newmont Corporation is actually a precious metal facility. Also, getting into the precious metal facilities to provide solutions for technology is going to be essential. It's something that Mr. Elon Musk is going to need if he wants to go to fucking Mars, right? He needs that. He definitely needs that. He can't not just send fucking people out there and think, robots are just going to be able to withstand the temperatures. It's just not going to happen. You need all of the elements, right? Precious metals and everything to make this thing work. It's just not going to happen. But before we go further, like I was saying, if you're new, like, follow, and subscribe. Okay. And comment as well. I want to hear you guys' feedback. I want to make sure that you guys are enjoying this platform and see what else I can do. And like I said, if you haven't checked out my website, my Crypto Crickets merch website, just type it in, or the link is in the bio, right? Just click there and it'll directly to that. And if you buy a t-shirt, for every t-shirt that you buy or item that you buy from there, you get airdrop 5,000 peg tokens to your WebAuth wallet. And if you don't have the WebAuth wallet, make sure you download the WebAuth wallet and you get KYC verified. All right. And with that, also, if for the first 10 people that actually buy items from my website, you will get another item mailed to you, but this is only based on laws, of course, that internationally allow. So in other words, if you are American or Canadian, you will get an extra item mailed to you directly from me. And I'm not going to tell you what the product is because it's a secret. Now, why the hell would I do that? Right? But you will get it mailed to you. So make sure you check out the merch. Back to the show. Okay, so yes, Newmont Corporation, I think, is the precious metal facilities that definitely we should all be looking into for long term. All right, we buy into the companies. We don't really trade it or investment. We buy into them because these are things that are essential. We need all these precious materials, metals, right, to advance forward. All right, so definitely Newmont Corporation is on a pullback. And I would probably start getting in somewhere around $90, right? It might go lower, just tap to like 79. That's what I'd be start buying into for long term. And probably look at it back in about 10 years from now, see where it goes. But as you can see, it's creating new highs. It's been creating new highs all the time. Can it come back low like it did here? Absolutely. It can come back down to about the demand usually on the monthly chart, it looks like it's telling us to come back down to $42. Can it come back down to $42? Probably. I mean, look at what it did here. It went to an all-time high here and then it pulled back down all the way to $31. It might come back down to $54. That'd be a good buy entry for myself. I don't expect to go anything lower than that. It just depends on the volume, because what you can see, there's a lot of selling pressure, selling, and it's also dying. So chances are you may start to see you may see more selling and then probably start to reverse back. So maybe around $81 would be probably a start good buying point, entry point. I would do. So precious metals is another thing. Mining facilities. Mining facilities is the big thing. Now, let's get into. Before I go into crypto, if you're new and you want to utilize the entire Metallicus ecosystem with the WebAuth wallet, I have videos that I made in the past in the last few weeks on short videos on how you can actually learn how to utilize the XPR network and how to lend and borrow your coins if your coin appears on the lending and borrowing protocol. It's very simple, but these are some things that you have to learn, right? And if you don't know, just go back to some of my other videos that I've made and you'll find them there. Okay, so if you're new, no worries, the videos are there so that you guys can benefit from this, and I want to see the platform grow, right? If there's money to be made in stocks, I'm gonna go get the money in stocks. If there's money to be made in crypto, I'm gonna go get the money to be made in crypto, because that's just what I want to do, and I'm sure you guys want to do that as well, make money. Okay, now we're gonna get into crypto, right? Bitcoin still shows that we are pulling back. Oops, that little fucker. It didn't even hit 87. Whatever. Okay, Bitcoin looks like it's still on a downtrend. Those EMAs show like they're actually kind of pulling back. I want to see Bitcoin come back down to like 50,000, right? It might happen between now and maybe, shit, I don't know, December, January, and I would start to buy in my way in there. But I also, it might come down low to like 30,000, come down to these areas right here. So 50, 40, 30, that'll be a good entry. Start accumulating some Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's always going to perform. It's always going to outperform. Okay. Most people are talking about a huge bubble burst, that the economy is going to crash. I don't see that. I see more of a correction, and if you don't sell at the top, well, then you're stupid. It is what it is. If you buy at the top, then you're stupid as well. But you can get smarter, right? Learn from those mistakes. And so people talk about that the economy is going to go to shit. Inflation's just going to keep getting higher. At some point, the system's got to collapse. It's not going to happen. Not when you have, stock markets, being tokenized, digital assets. And the stock market, because like I said earlier, you're starting to see more stock market trades in crypto exchanges. So a lot of these things are being tokenized. And so with the rise of inflation, right, and then, perhaps maybe oil and, the petrodollar being backed by oil may not be that important anymore. It may be just be backed by military force. Right? And gold being backed by gold, I don't believe half of that shit either, because again, nobody's seen Fort Knox. Nobody's seen it, not since the late 70s or 60s, right? That it was audited. I haven't seen it. The fucking thing the vault might be empty. I don't know. So I don't want to waste my time assuming that we are still living in those times where it's still secure. It may not, like I said, digital currency is the future. And what I mean by digital currency, I'm not talking about like fucking XRP. I'm not talking about Ethereum. No. What I mean digital currency is the stable coin, right? You want something stable, digital, one for one. Okay, definitely not XRP. Okay, and then Bitcoin is just going to be a store of value because it's so scarce. It's like gold, right? It is very simple. Everybody has access to it, right? And you can protect your assets, depending on how well you enter, right, on Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is just going to be that, like a store of value. And what is up? Something is up. Leaving's up 3. Okay. All right. So that's the digital assets that I'm talking about. And so because digital assets are, you're going to see that more often, and inflation is going to keep going higher, and people are going to expect the market to crash, we're not going to see that. At that point, sometimes it may not even be essential to really worry about that, because if some of you, many of you, probably did not read into the big beautiful bill that was last year signed by Donald Trump. What did he sign, right? I've read some of it, that stuff, by the way. It's a long bill. I read some of that stuff, and it said that our deficit is going to get higher, up to $60 trillion by 2034. So this idea that you think the market is going to crash is bullshit. It's like you want to see your own economy fail. You don't want to see your economy fail. That's not good. That's not good business. That's not good deals. You know, like when you're into business for your economy, that's not good. So the solution is to keep investing and buying the bottoms and keep trading. That is the solution, right? When people talk about, oh yes, we're gonna go into what is that then? Universal income. That's not gonna happen either. All right, that's not gonna fucking happen. Nobody likes socialism, not in America, right? Well, unless you're a socialist and a liberal, but that's a whole, the majority of Americans, we don't like that. We like opportunities. We like an open market. It's not a free market and an open market, because nothing is free. Everything costs money. You need to understand that. These days of fucking free market, maybe if you go to the flea market down the street, right, where they're selling vegetables and all that shit, that's a free market. But again, those vegetables still cost somebody, right, a lot of money to invest. So it's not free. You invest. Nothing is free. I like an open market, because nothing is free. All right. And so what I was seeing here with Bitcoin is that Bitcoin here, it might actually keep coming down, but you got to be, you know, patient and focus maybe perhaps on the stock market, because I really don't want to look at fucking crypto. It's like, it's a fucker's dying. It's dying. Okay. We got Ethereum. Ethereum, on the other hand, right, might actually, you know, it tapped right here. It might hold on to like 16, right? Kind of pull back up a little bit and then keep swinging lower. Some people think that it's going to come down and tap like $1,000. It could happen, but I would like to see it at 1,200. 1,200 would probably be the bottom, in my opinion. And I can definitely load up on Ethereum, but Ethereum really hasn't done shit too. You know, I'm better off just buying ore. Ore is a motherfucker. Not ore is the shit. Ore has so much room to improve. Look at this thing. It barely has a chart, and it's got so much room for improvement. 4 stars, baby. 4 stars. Not 5, because there's always room for improvement. Right? Solana is looking like shit too. Look at this thing. This thing is dead. It's just like dying. Red. No. Where's the green candle? None. I don't see anything. I think it's time for Solana, you know, to, you know, give us some green candles. I would sell at 119 and rebuy back lower. You know what I mean? Yeah, because Solana looks like it just wants to go crawl under a rock. Yeah, those EMAs shows that it's actually are kind of they're crossing here, so chances are we might get a reversal up to like 120, and I will sell that shit. I will sell that bag and walk away from Solana for a minute and go do something else, right? And from there, buy at the bottom as well, because you can see the volume here is kind of like dying, but we're getting some volume, so we might be in for a reversal. right? Get a little bit of a pump. It might go to $97 and then just dump on us again. It might just do that. I don't know. It just might do that. All right, and so that's Solana. I don't have to look at Solana. Solana looks like shit. All right. Then we have the precious. We have the precious metal coins, metal DAO, and XPR. Metal coin looks like on the 2 week looks like it's it might hold. It might hold. Now there's no volumes down here, what I would like to see, but god damn it, there's nothing. Right, but the RSI on there, it looks like it might actually reverse. Right, it's flirting on here on the MA. The MA is right there. It might go a little higher. Right, it might go up to like, I don't know, 18 and then probably dump and then pull back. Right, but the EMAs are crossing here. They're getting really tight, so chances are it might swing higher. We have to wait and see. Then we have the Metal DAO governance token, which I'm not kind of happy because this thing just keeps fucking falling off a cliff. And that's why I'm saying I haven't really paid too much attention to crypto lately, because it's just down, right? Probably the only one that's gonna make you millions is that fucking meme coin called RKC, Red Kitten Crew on fucking Pump Fund. You have a better chance of making money with just 20 bucks and make $40 or 60 bucks out of that thing than with this. Okay, but what I do like, this right here, it's really at the bear. It's already down. So buying into it is a no-brainer. Right? If it goes up high to like 72-ish, right? Then I can sell my bag and then buy lower again. That's what I would do. But as you can see on the volume, there's really no volume. None whatsoever. So we got to be careful with that when you look at things like that. Then we got the famous XPR. Right? It still shows on the EMAs right here. Crosses that it's still on a downtrend. Been on a downtrend. Right, this is its entire history. It's holding in this area of support, but if it doesn't, it'll probably come back down. It can probably tap. It can probably tap, you know, 1757, and then just wick down here very fast and then come back up. Right, so usually this would be a good time to start buying XPR and probably start lending and borrowing, or start staking them, whatever you want to do, short or long staking them, or put them into yield farming and make money on keep making money in a bear market. This is why I said early on the thumbnail that I don't give a shit if it goes down, because I'm still getting paid every second. And I'm collecting these coins, building up these coins, and then I will sell and take profit. Because when I take profit and I sit back, I got bills to pay. You got bills to pay, mortgage to pay, you know, car notes. They don't want your fucking crypto. They want your money. So I'm taking profit. And if you don't do it, I will. Give me likes and follows for those who come in and go. Or you can just watch a live stream again later. Okay, so you can see that here. Now let's look at the volume. Isn't that strong, isn't that really there, right? And I expect to see this probably come down to that area that I was talking about of, you know, 1772, and then tap all the way down to 14, but it may come back down all the way down here anyways. It may just come back down to that bottom again. It can do that. Right? So, you know, start buying in at these areas little by little is a good area. But I think I would wait maybe about here. That'll be a good price right there. Coming in here, boom. Right, that I'm put a clock in there to a reminder and lock it. Okay, I'm gonna get an alert on my phone that it's tapping that area. That start buying in there little by little, couple $100, boom. If it goes lower, buy there too, couple $100, boom. If it really goes low, I will buy the shit out of it here at this whole bottom and hold on to it for about a year or two before it runs, and I will sell that shit. Right, that's how it works. Now, of course, XPR has the potential of actually going up to $5-7 when it ever does have a big cycle. If it doesn't, I'm not worried about it because I get paid on the regular by yield farming. So if you yield farming by utilizing your WebAuth wallet on the MetalX platform, it doesn't matter. You get fucking paid. Okay, XRP can't do that shit. They don't have the ecosystem that XPR Network has created. They don't have it. But you can use those XRP coins and lend and borrow on our platform, right? Because it gives it some value. And because XRP is so massive, right, and so full of fucking hype and lies and bullshit from all these influencers telling you that if you buy 1,000 coins, you're gonna be set for life. That's bullshit. It's not gonna happen. We went last time and talked about the videos about how much money it requires for you to see XRP $10, $15, $30, $100. It requires hundreds of trillions of dollars that we just don't have in the market. Just don't have it. Sorry. Right? It's just we don't have it. And so XPR, however, is its total supply is 1/3. 1/3 of XRP's supply. 1/3. The other part too, the market cap is so low that there's so much room for improvement. That's why I don't give a rat's ass about XRP, because this can actually go to like $3 to $5, right, in a big cycle. It can do that. And so that's why I like this. I want to keep buying these dips, right? And I can do a lot of things with these coins, utilizing them. So I've already reached the 1 hour mark, a little bit past my time, which is fine. I hope that this live stream, it was informative. Be patient in trading if you're new. See the upside and the downside of crypto, right? And stocks, of course, that, like I said, if you are utilizing the WebAuth wallet, you're going to be making money regardless, because you're lending and borrowing or yield farming and you're just collecting, and you can sell these things right now for cash and go do whatever it is you want to do. Because pretty soon, if you live in the US like me, we're about to have 4th of July pretty soon. I can go utilize that, swap it for cash and go buy some fireworks, right? So the bear markets, you accumulate, you lend and borrow, you yield farm, right? And you collect money. And then you sell high. That's what we do. Okay? And with stocks, it's no different when it comes to like dividends, right? You live off of dividends. It's no different. Crypto is the same way. And so, but the difference is, of course, stocks actually does provide real good actual services. Like oil. It's a good stuff. So with that, I am going to end the live. I hope you guys enjoy my Saturday live stream. Please like and comment. I want to see everybody's feedback. I want to see this channel grow. I will be posting up a small video of this live stream that we're just going to end. And thanks for all the new people that came in and the new people that follow, because you're gonna see this platform grow. And again, I don't just cover the XPR network, I cover other cryptos as well that have a strong utility. strong use case utility, right, in the market. And I've already talked about it dozens of times that ore is a big one. Gambling is a big one. And then, of course, the stock market with all of their products and services. But we need to see that these products and services are actually, the consumer is adopting them, and we're seeing evolution of change of technology. If it does not being adopted, it doesn't really matter. But with that, enjoy your Saturday. Okay, enjoy this beautiful weather. I hope you guys learned something, and we will see you. I will see you guys